But I also found him. The tall man.
So, Phantasm 2 is to Phantasm what Evil Dead 2 is to Evil Dead. They got a bigger budget.
Yep.
They had a little bit of studio behind them, and
Yep.
there were pluses and minuses to that. The plus was that the production values went through the roof. The minuses, at least according to Coscarelli, but it might end up being a good thing for the franchise, was that they kind of insisted that the plot be a little bit more tangible in this movie, as far as it being there at A, B, and C. Characters with a goal, a beginning, middle, and end. So it was going to be less free-flowing out there than the first Phantasm. It was much more of a focused sort of quest road movie leading to this confrontation of vengeance.
Yep.
And so he was saddled. He had to recast Michael. He wanted to use the same actor, but he was forced to recast Michael. And he was forced, like I said, to make this more narratively focused.
Yep.
And what that did, because I'm fairly sure this was the first Phantasm that I saw, was made the first Phantasm movie make more sense, having seen the second one first. I understood what the other dimension was, and the crushed war people were actually corpses mined out of our cemeteries, made into these like slaves that could do their toil in these high gravity environments, and this other
small Lego people.
Yeah, in this other dimension, other world, whatever. So because they actually do focus on that more and make it clearer, when you go back to see the original Phantasm, those things don't feel like random pieces of dreamscape. You can say, oh, okay, so they're all playing a role in the background of this story.
Yep.
So in that way, retroactively, I think it clears up some of the cobwebs in the first Phantasm movie, if you wanted that. And also by making it a very direct sequel, and like they go from the jump scare, which was supposed to be the end, evil wins, to that night, Reggie mans up. He completely levels up and blows up his own house to help get Mike away from the tall man. And Mike has to recuperate.
They blow up like their own house, like not Reggie's, but
right. No, but then when he picks up Mike after he's quote recovered, and they're going back to the family reunion. His entire fucking family is exploded by the tall man. Like, not since the Punisher remake has there been such ridiculous stakes. Literally every person in his family is dead. All he has is Mike and this quest for vengeance.
And once again, he completely believes Mike without question. Even the cheesy line, "You dreamt about it before it was going to happen."
But for all of these things that I'm saying, and by the way, I fucking love this movie. It's moving at 1,000 miles an hour, at least for the first act. You got a lot of like narration filling you in, being introduced to characters. We have a psychic link between Mike and the tall man and this other woman who clearly has a psychic link between the tall man and Mike as well.
And it's ended up like there are others.
There are others.
Do expand the universe.
And again, that makes more sense of the sort of dream logic of the first movie, because he is being fucked with on a psychic level, right?
Yeah.
So
Liz is her name, by the way.
Liz, thank you. I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. Like, the movie really moves and it's throwing a lot of stuff at you, but like, it's again, for someone discovering the world, there's so much new to it that you just kind of roll with the punches and you are impressed. And the increase in the production values are a win. And to me, the accenting of the sort of crazy corners of the movie while keeping the narrative focused makes it feel, closer to an Evil Dead universe. And not to spoil anything, I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead universe.
I think that's been well established by both of us on this.
Yeah, so these are all positive things.
This is not a secret.
Yeah. This is a crazy movie. It's a narratively messy, crazy, violent movie, and I have a lot of fun with it. That's where I start with Phantasm 2.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways, we have the former head of Universal Pictures, Tom Pollock, to thank for the Phantasm franchise. And I just wanted to sort of like credit this man because he's responsible. He greenlit films such as Jurassic Park, The Serpent and the Rainbow, They Live, Shocker, Darkman, Dr. Giggles. We all remember Dr. Giggles.
So he was a champion of the horror genre in the early 90s.
Child's Play 2 and 3.
There you go.
And Army of Darkness.
My man.
In no other universe would a sequel get made to this like off-the-wall bloody mismatch of a movie such as this. Like Tom Pollock apparently was like a die-hard horror fan, and like this is almost a decade after the original film that was at best considered at the time sort of like an art house.
A cult underground horror hit, yes.
Yeah. And he said, yes, I want more of that in Phantasm 2. I mention Army of Darkness because this movie exists in the comedic, violent, aesthetic world of the Evil Dead. Like, forget the out-and-out shadow from Coscarelli, that scene involving with the ash, like they're looking through, and the name is Flash, and I'm not going to ruin it for you here. But there's a scene where like the sort of one of the lackeys to the tall man and drones, whatever you want to call them, gets one of the spheres stuck in his body, and it gets thrown around the room. It leaps and jumps, and it's clearly a tip of the hat to the lunacy that is the Evil Dead franchise. Like there are just.
There's a scene at the beginning.
It's shameless, but I love it so much.
There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where Reggie hears Mike getting attacked, and he goes looking for bullets for his gun, and he goes to a drawer. There's nothing there. He goes to another drawer. There's nothing there. He goes to another drawer. There's nothing there. And then he opens the cupboard, and one of the dwarves has just been standing in there waiting for his cue the whole time to pounce on him. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's awesome.
Yeah. I also. Let's talk about Reggie.
Yeah, okay.
It's time to talk about Reggie. I mean, we could talk about James LaGrosse and how he's replaced, how he replaced the other actor, and that is Mike, and he's fine. But he's really cut, and I love the fact that, I mean, it's Reggie Bannister who plays Reggie, who self-describes himself as the hardest working man in horror. I gotta kind of love that just a little bit.
Well, he was sort of playing the over-the-hill middle-aged guy in the first movie, right?
Yeah.
But now he's asked to sort of Rambo up a little bit and be more of the heroic role. I think James LaGrosse is fine as the lead. Like, I didn't feel like I missed the previous actor of Mike. They bring him back for the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like because they jump ahead very quickly in the narrative. I accept Mike as a grown-up being played by a different actor fairly easily enough. It didn't mess with me at all.
Yeah, no, that. And I do once again love that there's little winks and nods to other horror films as well. Like, this is another giant love letter to those midnight horror movies that Coscarelli as a kid grew up watching. Like, I really kind of felt like he's one of us. So I want to say thank you, Tom Pollock, and thank you, Don Coscarelli, because you really made a bizarre midnight movie. It does sort of get away with sort of like the dream logic aesthetic, but that as a narrative, like I agree that the narrative is a lot more straightforward, like A to B to C. there's still a lot of dreams in
Yeah.
this movie.
And
It's flat out telling you like this is the dream, and this is like the real narrative that you can trust.
but this time with narration explaining everything to you in a way that he wouldn't have done in the original Phantasm
Yeah,
movie.
sometimes the narration makes you go, "Oh no, stop! We get it, we
Yeah.
get it, we get it."
And I do think that as much as I love the movie, like the beginning really moves and the ending really moves, there is a mid-movie sag that happens.
That's right. Like the pacing of the movie is odd. That was one thing I was going to say. Like it felt draggy at some point, and then it picks up again.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I also don't want to undersell the effects. K&B Effects as a company did not exist yet, but the
Yeah.
main three components, including Greg Nicotero and Kurtzman, worked directly on Phantasm 2. There are
Yeah.
some great prosthetic effects in this
Yeah,
movie.
that opening monster where they go to like one of the towns, uh, and it's a trap basically where
Yeah.
it's
This creature sort of comes out of the spine, out of the back of this vision of
Yeah.
the character, the female character. And again, great effects. The sphere being lodged in this guy's face, like in the maw of his mouth, and like spinning, like it's still trying to dig its way out somehow.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I do also, yeah. I love the attention to details. With the sets, with the graves and the house in the back, and you can see some map paintings at one point. I love stuff like that.
It's a marriage of prosthetic effects and, well, effects of the time, but some of them are strangely old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But some of them are
I-
absolutely real. Like, there's a scene where they discover a graveyard that's been dug out.
Yeah.
And it looks like today they would have digitally mapped out the graveyard to look at going on, and it's all been dug out. But they literally did that. Like,
Yeah.
they put a bunch of fake headstones up, they dug a bunch of holes, and they shot it. And, like, production design on that level, like, across the board, good. And
Yeah.
much better acting all through the proceedings than in the first movie. A lot more competent actors.
Yeah.
The drunk priest who hangs around long after he knows things have gone south.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish by staying, but
Yeah.
he gives us sort of the updated sphere death of this particular movie.
Yeah, no, his character is to really function as the payoff for bringing the sphere again. It follows that tradition of characters that come in and out of that movie without rhyme or reason, and that if that frustrates you, that it's here again. I also love the fact that the tall man and the dwarves, they're colonialists.
Right.
That's the end game. That made me laugh a little bit. I'm sure it's not. I don't know whether it's a deliberate choice or not. I just what's going on with the world today. I just find that sort of funny.
Well, I didn't think too deeply about it because that's usually a mistake with these movies.
Yeah, I know.
But one thing that bothered me even when I was a kid, and it's still there, doesn't hurt the movie at all, but like just again narratively not making sense. This hitchhiker that they pick up,
Alchemy.
yeah, and she turns out to be evil, of course, but
Yeah.
we know it. We saw that Mike saw her dead on a table before she was picked up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why that kept on being a surprise, but if she was evil, if she's a puppet of the tall man, why isn't she killing Mike in his sleep or Reggie in her sleep? Like, she's with them forever. And
Yeah.
like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Apparently, she was a penthouse playmate too. If that fun fact. She weirdly looked familiar to me. I looked her up, and I guess she didn't do a lot of.
Okay, I'm sure she did weirdly look familiar to you.
Legitimately, when I rewatched it, I was like, "Did she do something else?" And I looked her up, and I didn't recognize her from anything else. But she did a lot of, I think, soft-core things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you're just digging that hole a little deeper there, Larry. But keep going.
I looked her up on IMDb. What am I, the devil? I'm saying her character doesn't make sense. She is naked in the movie. She's attractive, whatever. But
No, I mean
that character doesn't make sense at any point in the movie. But again, the movie. Coscarelli's like, don't think about it, just watch the movie. And for some reason, I'm giving him a pass that I give very few other filmmakers.
Well, I mean, the character is essentially to be a object of desire for the boys in the audience, including Reggie Bannister.
Yeah, and me, I guess.
So, take it, this is really done from a male point of view.
It was done to check the boxes of sex and violence in your horror movie, I guess. But, I mean, I think it could have been handled better. Again, I think Coscarelli might be more gifted as a filmmaker than as a screenwriter in some stretches.
I think that's fair enough.
And again, it's just isolated scenes and moments that make the movie really pop for me. Like the quadruple barrel shotgun, you know? And like the over-the-topness of the badassery, which totally, once again, rings me some Evil Dead 2 vibes.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, this movie is coded in the DNA of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, and if Beckmann and I are putting it in the same company as Evil Dead 2, that's a fucking compliment. Okay.
Yes, it is. This is a very strange madcap of a film.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it does sort of escape the brilliance of the first, just a titch, but it's still a great horror comedy midnight movie.
It is very much a B movie. You know, like there's just like the first one. There's a little bit of it's a little rickety. There's a little bit of roughness to it, but that somehow adds to the charm. And again, the imagination trumps all flaws. There are lots of scenes in this movie that you have not seen before and that you have not seen since. So, like, I don't know what more I can say.
And there's, like I said, there's even, like, weird narrative threads that come in and out of the movie that you could honestly take out of the movie, and it wouldn't really affect the overall story, but you're happy that it's there. It's great cinematic sex to me. It's great cinematic sex.
There's a tall man, and he goes town to town, emptying the people of their dead and killing everybody in the town. And just like that alone was a pretty good idea. And then, you know, all of the little flourishes, the visions, the sphere, the dwarves.
Well, like I said, I do love that they sort of expanded the universe. Like, it's starting to become not a global threat, but definitely sort of a nationwide threat.
Yeah. And for some reason, there's only two guys trying to stop it.
Yeah, because, no one knows about it.
Well, you can't stop death, Beckmann. You can't fight the clock.
That's true. That's true.